Peace, y'all. This is Asia here, and today's video, during my last day of my 20s, I want to go over and reflect on the things that I've learned in my 20s, also things I wish I could have done better. All right. So, the first lesson that I've learned in my 20s and what I wish I could have started doing at the very beginning of my adulthood as well, even the year of 18, was to get to know God for myself. And with this, as probably a lot of us, we've grown up in the church. Our parents took us to church every Sunday. We went mainly because of them. They didn't give us an option to not go to church until we become old enough to make those decisions of our own. And what I feel like I don't, yes, what I failed to do was to keep Jesus and God close to me, especially as I was growing up. I went away for college when I turned 18, and at first I was going to church, but then I started learning other things and learning myself and getting a bit further away from, not even a bit, I got further away from Jesus. I still value being a good person and having good principles, and thank God I still had that base of me growing up in church as a Christian. But going to a black school and learning about our backgrounds, I feel like I dove a lot more into that, and then that led me into meeting people and being with people that did not believe in Jesus but had their own beliefs, and me following that as well. So I one thing that I wish I would have learned at the very beginning of my 20s was to learn for God for myself and to keep and hold him there. If I did, I would have been continuing in my word a lot more, know a lot more of the Bible than what I do now. But I thank God that he pulled me out of that. I got back to Jesus recently, and that's it. I now know that a lot of these things I've experienced and learned, even with the spirituality stuff, they're okay, but it ain't Bible. And if it ain't the Bible or Jesus, then it's not the truth. And I've been deceived. So that's something I've learned in my 20s, is to get to know God for yourself. Get to know God for yourself. Recognize the things that he have done in your life. Recognize that he have kept his hand on you and kept you safe, even throughout the times where you was not fully believing in him. He still kept his hand on you, because if that wasn't the case, he wouldn't have pulled me back to him. And that's what I firmly believed. So that's the first one, is to know God for yourself. Okay. The second thing that I have learned in my 20s is to keep family near as your root. So later on, early in my 20s, I started learning about the spirituality stuff and the chakras. And when I was getting back into my root, the security, the foundation, now that I think about it, I didn't need to be wearing red all the time. I didn't need to be saying the root chakra affirmations. What I needed as my real root, especially when I moved away from home to go to college, was to keep in contact with my family and calling them, and also expressing to them what I need from them as well to help me keep that going. Because I don't know why I gained that spirit to where, especially when I went away, I was bad with my phone. I barely text back on time. I barely was calling home. And even outside of college as an adult, I'm trying to get better. I'm getting better with my phone, texting back, calling and stuff. But I had a real conversation with my aunt and telling her how, yes, I'm getting back to Jesus because of my mind. I need peace and etc. And she was like, well, that's the reason why I wanted you to call home when you was out in college, so you can have a foundation, so you can have your root. And that really stuck to me because that, I feel, is the key. When, like I said, you have family that you grew up in church with, and now I'm out on my own, or you're out on your own, facing different situations, peoples and their beliefs. I wish I could have called home a lot more to talk about those things, and for them to give me guidance on the right things to do. And basing it back on the word, I've known that if I would have kept in contact earlier in my 20s, they would have gave me a message of the word to refer to, and that'll help me keep back on track on rule number one, or lesson learned number one: keeping in close contact with God and getting to know Him for myself. So that was my second lesson learned, is keeping in touch with family. And also too, during that time, like, family passed by during had passed on during the past 10 years. So making sure that you keep in contact and help your family, do whatever you can, spend time with your family, because time is going by. Okay, step number three that I have learned in my 20s is self preservation. And that is with the other sex, with men and dating. That's with your time, money, your body, self preservation. Especially being single and dating, preserve yourself, okay? It's better, much better to preserve yourself. Even having friends and learn about their situations and stuff. And now I'm at a spot where I'm in the most stable relationship I have, and we're leading towards marriage. And I wish I've done a bit more self-preservation of dating, and also to uh self-preserving your time. I wish I had preserved my time a lot better as well, because I was trying to help everybody and they mama out. And during the time where I had left my job to be a full-time artist and entrepreneur, during that time I was still trying to, half of my time was still taken up by helping out everybody else in their mama and their business and their nonprofits and stuff. And I was supposed to use at least all of that time, or at least most of that time, to uh, build myself up and my goals and things that I was supposed to be pursuing. So preserving your time, and learning too that it's okay, even with friends and people who need help. I don't care if I'm at home working on a task for my business, and if somebody called my phone and say, "Hey, I need help right now," don't feel bad. Do not feel bad if you have to say no, in order to protect your day, in order to protect uh, yourself with getting tasks and things done. Because if I answer the phone every day off of somebody needing something, I would not get anything done. So, valuing that whatever I'm doing in a moment's time, I don't care if I'm not at work, and like I said, I'm at home doing what I need to do. It needs to be done, and I will preserve and protect my time. And also preserving and protecting your body as well. That goes with all the stuff that you put in your body. Later on, now I'm feeling my body, feeling the effects of it getting older. And now my mind is thinking about even 30 years from now, 40 years from now, when I get 80, I still want to be walking around. And that all matters about what I'm putting in my body now to preserve my body. So preserving yourself from other people, your time, body, money too, saving your money as well. So that's the third lesson that I've learned, is having self-preservation. Okay. The fourth lesson that I've learned in my 20s is to find and focus on your purpose. and that's included with jobs and talents as well. So during my 20s, um, I went to school and I thought I wanted to be a doctor, and then all of that changed. By the time the end of my schooling, I ended up teaching. I did enjoy teaching. But even throughout my 20s, I found my talent, which was painting and art. And I've always drawn in my notebooks and stuff when I was younger, but when I was a sophomore in college, around 20 years old, that was when I bought my first paint set. And from there, I just kept painting ever since, and even grown my artistic um, background and even career from artist to I was a part of art shows to me curating other art shows to hosting paint classes, uh, both public and private paint parties, face painting, and more. So I've been building that up, but also too remembering that those were my two things, my two purpose I wanted to focus on. Found out that it was art and also teaching. And if I could just focus on those two things, then I'm good. So in your 20s, finding out what you like to do, especially since the teaching part, that was my job. And the art part, that was what I did on the side. As a passion. So my passion project. But I do want to build up my art side for me to sustain and build it for it to be like a generational business. And I feel like that's what my 30s will be more so focused on. So I'm glad that in my 20s I was just trying to figure out myself with my purpose in life, building up the different things that I can do with it, to now seeing, okay, this worked, this didn't work, and how I want to sustain that further on, especially in my 30s. The fifth thing that I've learned in my 20s, and also what I wish I could have done a lot better as well, is using my 20s to gain that financial stability, or to uh, make it as a foundation in your 20s. Now, I did not expect to be rich in my 20s, but it is very possible to just have that foundation, that stepping block for you to grow. And that is one thing that I am wholeheartedly a believer of as well. That in your 20s, you do figure out what you are made of, and it doesn't matter if you make the money and if you lose it. Your 20s is where you build those skills and that foundation to where it don't matter if you lose it, you know what to do to get it back and to elevate past that. So during the 20s, something that I wish I've would have learned is just to become a bit more financially stable, and doing that, tying in back with the previous point, sticking with the job and doing what I love on the side with the art. It's okay to have a job and to do your thing on the side. I kind of wish I wasn't too much on social media, or uh, the boss chick era or the boss entrepreneur era, where people were leaving their jobs to pursue their dreams and stuff. It's okay to have a job and to do that on the side. And when the art stuff or your hobby and your business start to make twice as much more as your job, or really start to um, hinder your job performance or get in the way, then make that decision to move on. But I wish I would have kept in my job as a teacher, and then build up my business to be sustainable enough to leave it and go forward. I did do well as a solo artist on my own without my job. Um, but like I said, I should have had a lot more structure, had that time to myself instead of helping everybody else and their mama to focus on building that up. So the sixth topic of the lessons learned in my 20s is that things happen in steps and every step count, no matter how small it may be. I've learned this mainly with being in my business and realizing that no matter how small of an action I have done for the business, it will come back. So, for example, I've been doing coloring sheets recently. I've did the small step of adding the coloring sheets to my website page. Small step, added the coloring sheets to the Etsy shop, adding the coloring sheets to wherever I can add the coloring sheets to. It may not be fruitful today, may not be fruitful tomorrow, but what matters is that I had put it out there. And since uh, I had put it out there for someone to see it and to potentially buy it. And when someone buys it, then that would be my return for putting that one thing out there. And even taking that one thing to expanded on that as well, the small task of emailing different organizations about my services, uh having a certain conversation, all of those things come back. Because even imagine that conversation, that one conversation out of the 100 you had with someone, and that one person come back and say, oh, I'm having a big event and I would like to book you for however X amount of dollars. It could be a big contract. Out of the 100 people you talked to, that one person gave you one of those big blessings. And that's because you took time to do that one step, each little step at a time. Each person that you talk to is a little step. Is a little step. So put things out there and you will see a return. And imagine all the little things that you put out there and all the different possibilities uh, um, of that sowing of the seed you put out there to come back and be fruitful to you. So remember, things happens in steps. All right. The next lesson I've learned in my 20s, which honestly should go up there with family and God, is to be yourself. Understand what you like to do and be yourself. There's going to be other people around you, other people who you may feel like, oh, well, let me go try this and that. It's okay to try stuff, but ultimately check with yourself and make sure that it's something that you like doing and not you being a part of it because you just want to be a part and that's what everybody else is doing. And during my 20s I spent a lot of my not a lot of time, but I was no stranger to going out on my self dates, going out to places by myself, and just enjoying myself. And also in my 20s was when I found my dance in me as well. It don't matter if nobody else in the room is dancing, I am dancing, okay? It, it don't matter what anyone else do. It wouldn't matter. What matters is what you believe in, how you are, and that's really it. If you don't want to go to the clubs, don't go to the clubs. It don't matter if your friends go, just don't go. And sometimes too, people will follow your lead as well. They'll say, okay, well, yeah, let's just stay in, let's hang out, let's do something else. But ultimately, it's up to you. It is up to you. Be yourself and do what you like to do. Find out what you like to do and do it. The next lesson I've learned in my 20s is to not hold any grudges. And this is especially for seasonal friendships. So, something I had to learn in my 20s is that not every friend I meet and I become close to, not all of them will be around forever. Some of them will come, but y'all will leave due to whatever conflict or situation. But it's also important to know that when those conflicts and situations arise, especially with a friend, be vocal about it and try to talk to them about it. There have been some times where a ex friend did try to communicate with me, say it was a problem, and for me, I'm not with the texting. I need to pick up that phone and talk to you and hear your voice, because most of the time, like I said, I feel I'm glad that I have kept my good principles, and I don't like to be uh, blamed on for anything. So therefore, I will call you, I will talk to you, and we can have a conversation, and I will make sure that you understand my point of view inside, and I will understand yours, and I'm going to try to figure out what I can do to make it right. So I wish um, with some friendships, I've even done that for all of them, at least have a conversation. Some of them did not want to have a conversation, so therefore it's ended with that. Others, I have left the friendship after a little squabble, and I blocked them, or I did not speak to them when I seen them again. And that is something that I've learned as well. Like, when a friendship is ending, or you see guys are not on the same page, talk to that person. And that's what the Bible says as well. If there is a disagreement, do not go and talk about it with everybody else. Go to that person in private and speak to them about the disagreement. So that's what I wish I've learned, and also, or what I had learned, some of my actions. And now, if I was to see certain old friends out in public, I would acknowledge and say hi, but and it could be peaceful after that. I forgave the friends for whatever has happened. I pray that they have forgiven me for what I may have done, and I'm praying that their life is well. I don't have any amnesty, um, amnesty and animosity. I don't have any animosity towards the friends. I want everybody to be well. So that's one of my lessons I've learned in my 20s as well. Oh, wait, and tag it along with uh, hold on to grudges, that go into relationships too. Relationships, especially romantic relationships. I'm in the most stable relationship right now. We're leading towards marriage, and one major thing I had to learn was to let go of my ego, and to let go of worldly thoughts, and to recognize the real, and recognize what is good, and to let that be, and to not get in my own way, and to self sabotage, etc. Sometimes it's good to take a break from all this social media stuff where people have their own opinions, especially there's all these relationship experts. No, get in your mind, get in your space. Sometimes you might have to leave it over there, figure out your own thoughts, what you think, see what's actually happening, and connect the two. Sometimes our ego or the devil will come and try to confuse us and stir chaos and trouble. So it's important to get back to your sanity. Pray over a situation and for guidance. That's all I have to say about that. I had to definitely learn how to let go of my ego so I could have a good relationship. And it's not mainly good because of that, but it played a major part. Okay. The last lesson that I've learned in my 20s is that these years go by fast. Like, I remember being 20, 21, 22, 23, thinking, oh, the end of my 20s are so far away. by the time I'm 28, I should be here, I should be there, etc. Then 25 came along, then 26, and I'm still changing. I'm still figuring stuff out. And now I'm 29, and I thank God. Like I said, I thank God that I kept my mind. I thank God that I got back to Jesus Christ. I thank God that I've learned and my mind is developing. I'm definitely developing and taking in everything, taking in lessons and learning from them, experiences. But yeah, these years go by and then you start to feel it in your body. And I'm the biggest that I've ever been weight wise, which I'm still at a good weight, but still I'm feeling behind my legs like, is this fat or I don't know. Just reminding myself like, okay, I need to stay doing my squats and stretching and keeping up with my body because these years are going to go by. I need to be mindful of my big goals because I don't want to get another 10 years and not even have done um, half of the things I wanted, or even my bit two that I want. So taking each day as a gift. It's okay to rest sometimes, but we're meant to every day get up and put in some work, especially for the Lord, so he can fulfill his plan for us. We need to get up and do, not get up and listen to other people's opinions, get up and wonder and think. We need to get up and do and create. And like I said, every day those little actions and steps going to just build on up, build on up. But that's the most of the lessons that I've learned in my 20s, especially the main ones. And I hope that you can either learn from some of the things that I mentioned in my 20s, especially if you're in your 20s figuring stuff out. For those who are even past me, putting down in the comments some of your major lessons learned or even some experiences that you have uh, learned from as well, according to some of the lessons I mentioned too. So I thank God for everybody. If you made it this far listening, I praise that you are going through your 20s the best way you can. Especially keep God first and keep your family and be yourself. And just continue every day to take those steps and be a better person. So thank you, God, for that. Thank you, God, for the people watching. And thank God for life. And cheers to my 30s. I'm looking forward to my 30s. Sustainable 30s. Sustainable 30s. All right, peace, y'all.